We all love a good villain, someone who counters the protagonist as blockades to their goal, a dastardly plan that needs to be stopped, or a counter-reflective to the protagonist's immorality. I have been saying this for months to the Deltarune community that the water cooler is the true villain of Chris. I mean, look, they are both blue for God's sake. But a villain I want to focus on, of course, is the Prince of Darkness, the wielder of damned portal mastery, and a professional baker of evil. It's time for Kaos. Kaos has been the main villain of Skylanders since Spyro's adventure, where he made his debut, being a tyrannical little portal master head set on the selfish desire of ruling the Skylands, being a major case of Napoleon syndrome. And I mean, it makes sense too. Kaos's teeth are so mangled, he's probably suffering from the silent killer of gingivitis. Kaos is one of those iconic villains. He's very much a personality true to his design, and of course he wouldn't be iconic without his voice by Richard Horvitz, who gives Kaos the soul of annoying and hilarious.
Attention fools! Here comes Kaos!
Are you fucking—
Caillou, the big bitch bulldog, though, has a unique take of how he was conceived because, my god, his mother has proven why she's a portal master from her nether bits. Kaos was designed by Wei Hyung, the lead designer to Skylanders, and when the game was during its development, he was trying to create an iconic villain that initially was a demon warlock, with a couple of variants to its design. This version kept to the magical feel of Skylanders, yet Hyung felt this design wasn't original. It was lackluster, and the other variants were not fitting the whimsy of Skylanders. That was until Paul Ritchie, the creative director, dropped the hardest line, a powerful but annoying little guy. Straight bars. I have this tattooed above my crotch. Thus, Hyung went to the drawing board and began to envision Kaos contrasting the player as a portal master that went from "Mom, I'm scared" to "He keeps offering me Skittles outside my window." Until Hyung landed on a set of human Kaos designs, ultimately leading him to choose the one and only Kaos we know today. Still a little bummed that Tubster Kaos didn't make it. Kaos's human design is perfect because it doesn't get acknowledged a lot, but the protagonist is actually us, the player, not the Skylander. So by viewing Kaos as the opposite coin to the player, it works very well to his selfish agenda. Now, in the 6 mainline games, Kaos has been the driving villain to counter the Skylanders. He's the Bowser to Mario, the Eggman to Sonic, the IRS to my bank account. Being the villain of these games, Kaos has been serving up chaos for 6 years straight as one of the greatest villains to ending as one of the worst.
I'll kill him! Oh no.
Yes, you heard me. Kaos is a case of rise and fall, being an awesome villain to a nothing sandwich. So before you start social commenting why I'm wrong or my left ear enjoyed the video, oh gosh. When I reviewed Skylanders and even streamed the Nuzlocke, subscribe to watch me have mental episodes live on stream. I have to get the children. I went from loving Kaos as a villain to being, how do I say in nice terms, I want to punt this little man-child. From Spyro's adventure to Imaginators, Kaos was strumming the strings, and for 6 games straight, in 6 years straight, I feel he completely outstayed his welcome like an awful house guest. He hasn't left my couch for 6 years, and he beckons me to feed him Cheerios. Kaos is definitely the Dr. Wowie to Skylanders, as every time you think he's done, he finds a way to scuttle back into our lives. So allow me to reiterate you Kaos's rise and downfall of being an iconic villain based solely on the games and the comic tie-in to Superchargers.
A baby, huh? Ugh. Now this diaper is filled with evil!
The core of light is suddenly being attacked by a chaotic fetus man. Spyro's adventure is our first introduction to Kaos, and boy is he menacing for like 1 minute and then we see what's behind the projection. Bro did the 3-point catfish on us. Bald, small, and ugly. Now, Kaos' story here is that he is a banished portal master trying to take over the Skylands that Eon, a protector of the core of light, is trying to protect with the Skylanders. And when Kaos is losing, he pulls an Independence Day with the Hydra, a creature of the darkness. Kaos in Spyro's adventure is a perfect start for his introduction. The way he uses a mask that clearly is the ugly version to the hotness that he is, the mockery he has to the Skylanders when he is talking through mini-boss fights, and the fact that when he loses he finds a way even if it means to destroy everything, offers insight on how committed and selfish he truly is. This is evil Kaos, and yeah, it's mustache twirling behavior, but I love how they play into that annoying trait that he is. Every comment he makes about being a Sky loser is hilarious because he's just a man baby with a ton of power. Plus, this is to get the players acclimated to Kaos that Toys for Bob did really well. He doesn't have a ton of screen time, mainly interacting with Glumshanks on how to plan their next attack, and then he uses his hologram to mock us, yet Spyro's adventure provides the perfect start for this tyrannical little peanut because it gives a grasp on Kaos and what he's about. Even at the end, Kaos is still trying to stand on business to the point he's negotiating, but he still can't shake that douchebag in him.
Hey! What the? Everything's getting bigger! Wait! I'm getting smaller!
Now, before we go into Giants, I'm beginning to step into more longer form Skylander videos, so if you do enjoy this style of content, please like, comment, and subscribe, and also check out my other stuff like Sly Cooper reviews, since I'm also reviewing those games. So, bye! Now, Giants is where I feel Kaos begins to get more fleshed out as a villain. This is where we see him go from the bottom to the top and utterly get his ass whooped. Kaos, after his defeat, was sent to Earth. That is a weird thing the Skylanders game did, and then we never talked about it again. My Spyro figure speaks to me. I swear it's not a problem. You're the problem, it says. And when he returned, he accidentally stumbled upon Conkertron, who offers its strength to Kaos' side for conquest. And from here, Kaos begins his quest for power. This is villain arc Kaos. That is honestly the best as a sequel development, since Spyro's adventure felt more like we gotta beat him up because he's a bad guy, yet Giants allows Kaos to actually show his snuff as to why he's a villain, a threat to society, and how persistent he is towards his goals. This isn't a mustache twirling villain anymore. This is a man on a mission that is proven by his actions of being one step ahead of the Skylanders at every turn, being very tactical to resourceful when things go wrong, and actually achieving the goal of getting the fist of Marcus. Wait, Marcus? I meant Arcus. The fist of fuck, no, not Marcus. The fist of Arcus. God damn it. Fucking spelling error. Now, I will agree, he doesn't really interact with the Skylanders as much, so it's not too on character development. The goal is the race to the end, and the only pieces to Kaos' life we discover is Kaos' Willikin village that was made for him when he was a kid, that he disowned when he got older, the little scrolls of Kaos' life, like him trying to riz girls to no avail and kicking his dad in the testicles, or the little bites we get on him in Giants. But this sequel offers Kaos more time to shine as a villain that he did by winning the battle, and then we beat the piss out of him until his balls explode. Now, we are 2 games in, and Kaos has been running this shtick that I do allow because I feel that the first game never shows the villain shine as much, and it's the sequel where you begin to understand why they are a villain. Yet typically by the 3rd run, it's hard to keep using the same villain. By this time, you have to spice it up, find a way to make them feel fresh. That is solved by introducing an even stronger villain, aka Kaos' mom. Swap Force, I feel, is a major turning point with Kaos, and I'll get into why soon, but basically Kaosandra banished the Swap Forcers defending the ceremony of the ancient elementals, but she still failed. That, like mother to gross man fetus, he wants a crack at it too, yet this time he's in possession of the petrified darkness that evilizes anything it touches. That Kaos is failing in his plan too, so his mom steps in to take over the show. Here is where I feel Kaos starts to go from villain to character. Now we get a grasp of his family dynamic. We can understand where he comes from now. His mom clearly looks down on him. Hell, she actually cherishes Glumshank more than her own son. She's not neglecting as she's offering to help, but it's clear that without her assistance, Kaos was gonna fail in his plan, and she revels in that as he is pissed off by it. So we understand he doesn't like to show his weaknesses. And you see Kaos trying to jerry-rig the plan to make it his own. He even goes into action himself that gets him caught, yet we can see he is trying to prove to his mom how how evil he is and that he's the top dog by letting her rot in a mirror that she's oddly proud of. I'm telling you, this family dynamic is weird, and I'm believing Kaos's dad was a portal cuckmaster. Yet Kaos accidentally evilizes himself and became a rock monster to destroy the Skylanders, and we all know how this ends. This is a case of misdirection by having his mom be the bigger threat, and then he takes over last minute. It makes sense for his character because he was trying to be the top salami the whole time, but his mom was clearly more superior. So him pulling the alley-oop is pretty fun. It feels very Kaos-like, since this was ultimately his selfish goal since the start of the game, and he threw his mom under the bus to make it happen. But again, this is the major turning point for Kaos, since here is where I feel they began to drop the ball with only one big moment for him, because the problem starts in Trap Team. So Trap Team, just like Swap Force, did misdirection again, but this time more forced, and I hate it. Kaos does a funny YouTube prank and explodes a prison releasing the Doom Raiders ran by the Golden Queen that Kaos assumes would listen to him, but oops-a-doodles, he a bitch, and they outs them, leaving Kaos to join the Skylanders that he is reluctant to at first. But with time, he is coming slowly. Wait. I should not have spaced that. But with time, he is coming slowly around to the gang, and we even save him from Wolfgang. Yet afterwards, he goes dark as we defeat the Golden Queen, only to find out that Kaos was the wolf in sheep's clothing and the ultimate villain in the end. What they fucking do? I hate this so freaking much.
Yeah, we did this already. That's what's so fucked up.
Kaos was nothing in this plot. I get it. It's the enemy of my enemy is my friend trope. As Kaos allowed the Doom Raiders to run free so that he can control them first, so now we have to help him stop them because now they're in power. It's basically Sonic Lost World. I hate how Kaos did nothing in this plot. He was literally getting closer to Flynn, and then it felt like someone at Toys for Bob realized, oh, well, we can't have a Skylanders game without fighting Kaos, am I right? Oh my God, Tim, you're a genius. So they jerry-rigged the stupidest reason to why he betrays everyone in the end. It does nothing good for Kaos as a character. We didn't know what to do, so we made him bad in the end. That should work, cause he's selfish and fuck him. The Doom Raiders were the perfect antagonists to Skylanders. They are fresh, fun villains, and by making Kaos the ultimate threat, it just feels so cliche. You can only pull the sheep's clothing once, and Swap Force did it pretty well, but Kaos should have hung back. He should have done something stupid that empowers the Golden Queen for one last final fight, but nope, all we got was a shoehorned final boss so we can buy a Kaos trap for another 15 bucks to play him. That makes paying for a Jack-in-the-Box munchie meal diarrhea feel more like a surprise than Kaos's final boss reveal.
Oh no! It's the Skylanders! They're here. Okay, I give up. Fooled you! I was totally kidding right there, Sky Losers.
I do want to take a moment and talk about the 3DS games quickly, because at least they did some justice to the Skylander series. In each game, aside from Supercharger Racing, Kaos was not the villain, and aside from Hector being Abysmal and Captain Frightbear being my paralysis demon, Count Moneybones and even the Dream Sheep were great villains that spice up the story. They are one-timers aside from Moneybones, but allowing others to take the limelight to be a major force was something the series really needed by now, because if you keep feeding someone chocolate cake over and over and over again, they're gonna start hating it. They're gonna become numb to it and possibly contract diabetes. It's the worst of both worlds.
The bunny gets the pancake.
But we are 4 games in, and Kaos is still being the main bad guy. That makes sense for series like Sonic or Mario. They'll try to spice it up with their breaks here and there, plus they actually have more development time frames than Skylanders being year by year, because then what happens is this year you fight Kaos in a giant robot, and next year you fight Kaos as a giant rock monster, but we fight inside him. They sadly cut out the part we fight in his urethra. But going into Superchargers, we have to acknowledge the rift of Overdrive Comic. Again, I'll make it fast, but basically Kaos after Trap Team was acting all goody-goody since everyone thought the Traptanium calmed him down, but Kaos here was 2 steps ahead, as he stole a hidden vial of darkness the Academy had that unleashed his powers even more. That then allowed him to have the strength to counter the Skylanders, causing rifts across the Skylands. And it ends with him destroying the academy, so I guess this is solid Chaos shenanigans. Oh, I mean, the fact that he is cunning and one step ahead always frightens me, because you're telling me this Chinese bootleg Charlie Brown looking ass can't even wipe his ass properly, yet he has the tactics to take over half of Europe? But the story tags into Superchargers, aka Peak Chargers, because this is the best plot for Chaos. Superchargers begins with Chaos already have won, so the plot is that he is in full control of the darkness with his Sky Eater destroying the Skylands. Most of his screen time though isn't about being powerful, it's actually about understanding Chaos. Chaos throughout the plot finally achieved its goal, but he gets persuaded by the sentient darkness to push on more that Glumshanks is very wary about, so the darkness convinces Chaos to fire him and go all out in their conquest. Chaos selfishly listened, of course, but with time Chaos starts to miss Glumshanks. He actually saw him as a friend, then a servant. That then begins this doubt as Chaos was realizing that the more the Sky Eater takes, there's gonna be no Skylands. His villainy will be meaningless. But it doesn't matter as the darkness has Chaos by his two doomsticles, because he can willingly take his power away, thus leaving Chaos a powerless portal master, so he listens to destroy the Skylands. Yet in the ultimate climax to destroy the darkness, Chaos does stand by his side, but when truly confronted with the total destruction of the Skylands, Chaos chooses to betray the darkness, accepting the loss of his powers, doing one big unselfish act because Chaos is truly a good guy within, even though he doesn't want to acknowledge it. So the darkness was actually the final boss, and with an isekai truck to the face, it's all over as the gang parties and Chaos agrees to help the Skylanders fight off other evils while trying to be good, but of course he wants his powers again, yet accepts to offer his services to them, putting a beautiful bow on Chaos's story. Is what I would say until Imaginators took a fat shit in their pants and died. This is the best version of Chaos, I feel. It's like everything led up to this very moment. He won and saw nothing. He was ultimately a pawn in the grander scheme of the darkness, so he decided to finally do good once in his life. The quarrels Chaos goes through to even accepting to lose his powers at the end and being a helper to the Skylanders is a full circle arc of a villain who always wanted to win, never accepted second fiddle, betrayed the Skylanders after they opened their hearts, and now fully coming to the acceptance that his goals of tyranny have no pleasure when there is no future. This is the rise of the one and only Prince of Doom, Chaos. This is a growth perfect for him, who has taken the main stage for 5 years straight, that finally stepped down to allow someone else to be the main villain in the end. When I thought of making this video, I was really hoping to talk about this moment because it's very poetic. It felt like Vicarious Visions understood that the Skylanders series was over, so they crafted a plot that would be so hopeful, emotionally hard-hitting, and full of redemption. We finally saw Chaos's reign was over, and it was time to move on to bigger villains or close the book entirely. That again would have been the case, but who doesn't love a surprise sequel that completely ruins everything that happens because of money?
What inspired you to build a second Krusty Krab right next door to the original?
Money!
Skylanders Imaginators is the fart to the face that is the pink eye to the Skylanders fans. Cause Chaos in Imaginators is so dull, it's practically awful what they did to him and he didn't even consent to it. Basically, mind magic is a thing, so Chaos steals a book from the Academy since he still doesn't have powers and makes his Doomlanders through mind magic that he works alongside the Brain, who is trying to do grander conquest, but of course Chaos needs to keep control of everything so he can go Super Saiyan. Then he gets his ass whooped and put into a cum jar. Now I know the story to this was the Toys to Life market was diminishing hard. They oversaturated the genre and Activision began to see the financial decline the series was going towards. So when Superchargers didn't sell too well, it was too late for Toys for Bob as they were already in development for Imaginators. So they basically Titanic that shit and released Imaginators under the assumption if it succeeds, great, we keep going. But if it doesn't, it was meant to be. That is why the gimmick feels very fleshed out, but the plot was definitely made in a day. It felt like they were trying to recapture Spyro's adventure with Chaos's head mocking you before boss fights, and then the cutscenes in the castle of course followed the same idea of him aiming to be stronger, but the originality was gone. Chaos wasn't a villain with a purpose, he was just slap-jobbed in. I ordered a burger and it gave me lettuce whole. It felt like Toys for Bob didn't want or have time to do an actual new villain, so they completely tarnished Chaos's journey, all for the sake of having a plot of a villain challenging the Skylanders, and clearly it wasn't going to be the Brain. That's why Chaos's rise was completely ruined by one choice, making making him fall at the very last minute.
Wham! Kazap! First try.
Now, of course, if we just smudge Imaginators out, then we can say Kaos was on a roll from 1 through 5, and I'd excuse Trap Team, thus making Kaos the rise of a villain. Yet we have to face the fact that the last game to Skylanders completely tarnished such a great arc. I will give credit on the fact that they made Kaos run for so long, while still keeping him fresh by putting him at the bottom, reaching the top, and even having a change of heart. Kaos truly shined as a character, and yes, I wish we had other villains since Kaos was much more defined when challenged by greater threats, so the dichotomy of him is great plot munchies. Yet Kaos really served us doomed for 6 years straight, even if the last one ruined his image. I can't deny I love this chaotic, bald, half-grown sperm cell. So in the grand scheme of things, Kaos is truly an awesome villain who deserves a seat amongst the table, and I only hope that one day we see him back in the limelight. If I do have one wish for the Skylander series, I would love to go back and make Tubster Kaos a thing so he can spread the heart attack of doom!